All right, so this thing is a goer. It's just not a stopper yet. So let's get the master cylinder on there, and we'll start getting the lines finished up to run over there. And because I got the fitting we need, and I'm just gonna do front to front and rear to rear on this. The reservoirs look like they're about the same size, so I don't know. You know, if it doesn't work, then I'll find something that does. But if it works, then hey, cool. I only spent 41 bucks on that. So let's get it mounted up there so we can start routing lines to get it working. All right, let's get this thing bolted in here so we can start making lines. There we go. I'm gonna make them long enough that I can move it forward if I get a booster, or you know, if we go hydro boost, whatever, we'll make it work. I do like how compact that thing is, though. Okay, so these are routed to where I can push that forward. I want to get these going in the direction they're supposed to be. Let me remove this one plug. Got the plugs in it right now, just for one, to keep it clean, and two, it's got still to be bench bled once we get these lines figured out. So the rear line is going to be the 1/4 inch line, so that's what we need the adapter for. Stick that in there. Ain't got to tighten it down or nothing yet. How do you want to do it? So the fender liner doesn't go any further past that, so probably just do a 90 right up here. And do a maintenance loop and then over, I'm thinking. Make sure it's plenty clear of the steering shaft. That's the main thing. So this is our front lines. So we kind of already started our maintenance loop there, huh, didn't we? We need it tighter than that, but let me try to figure out how long we want to go. Just probably cut it like one. Yeah, that should be plenty. Right about, well, I'll go right about here. That was nice. There we go. Now you got a little less to deal with. Be good enough for most even boosted applications. So what I was doing was grabbing a piece of tubing to be able to make our maintenance loop with. Hopefully it won't be too hard since we've already got kind of a loop going. I'll start a little further back than that. That should be more than enough. That's probably one of the nicest ones I've made. It seemed like I was having a heck of a time doing it. So I think from there, if I just go 90 up, I'm going to put a hanger down here to hold it in place at some point, just so it's not doing this all the time, but I'll make sure it's going to clear steering column. Maybe I'll go over and up and around. I think we need to get a tube nut on there first. Get that thing straightened out a little bit more. It's hard to straighten the ends up. Get a tube nut. I already had a couple out when I went to the store looking for the adapter. Okay. So I think, there we go. I like that better. I can tie in down below, hang it. It's above this. So now we're going to go over and over and over. Yeah, I mean, this loop is too big, but we can squish it down a little bit if we want to bring it up. Yeah, you get the flaring tool. I'm thinking to make life way easier, I'm going to disconnect from the proportioning valve down here, take it over the bench, and flare it. So that way we're not fighting, trying to do it on the truck here. Not to mention these are all loose, so So much in the way. There's our brake line for the front. So I know you all seen me flare nuts before, flare tubing before, but you're in luck. You get to see it again. Need something to straighten the end of it out a little bit. But making brake lines sure can be a noisy affair, huh? There we go. Nice flare. I like to hit it up with a wire wheel afterwards just to clean up any sharp edges that might be there. Ran some air through it too, just to be sure. All right, let's get it back in there and finish bending it up. That ought to work. That looks a little goofy right there, but whatever. I forgot. These are standard size nuts, but they don't fit standard size wrench. And yes, Amazon special. What can I say? Gotta use a 10 millimeter to tighten it down. I'm gonna do the rear line off camera because, well, that took up a lot of time. So I'll probably have to disconnect this to get it out of the way in order to do that one anyways. All right, about 20-30 minutes later, we have the rear one finished up now with, of course, a maintenance loop. If y'all have watched my shorts, I talked about these before, whether or not they're necessary. I put them in just because they kind of look cool, so why not? So we got the brake lines done, so the brakes system is complete. Not tightened down yet, but complete. We got to bench bleed that master cylinder first. But there we go, we got brake lines complete from the front to the rear. Before I put any fluid in there to get this thing bled, I'm going to go through, because all the lines are brand new, so we go through and blow through every single line just to make sure there's nothing in them. I already did the rear on the differential, so I need to do the line from here to the back and all the lines from the proportioning valve over. The two that goes to the master cylinder, I already blew those out, so they're good to go. So it's got to do the rear one and the two front ones. All right, we got fluid in it now. And I did forget to tighten the line down here, go figure, it happens every time. But everything else is got fluid going to it. Just need to get my wife out here to do a full-on power bleed. The pedal, I don't know, doesn't really engage till way down at the bottom. So I'm hoping it'll change with the bleeding. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. So it'll definitely stop it once we get it bled, but I just don't know, you know, as far as pressure goes, if, well, just the pedal feels not very good, so. But again, like I said, we haven't bled it yet. So I'll let you know when I get done bleeding. The master cylinder's in, and we got some brake pressure right now, but I don't think I ever went in and actually adjusted the brake shoes out to give some little drag back here to basically adjust it out to where it needs to be. So I think that's the issue I'm having right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get up under there. There ain't enough room to film what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna get in there and adjust the shoes out to hopefully, you know, get a little drag on the rear wheels here, and hopefully that'll take care of that little bit of a space there is in the master cylinder. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. Nothing big, and I'll come back when and let you know if it helped. All right, so I've just been doing some buttoning up and little things. So I got the transmission tunnel completely bolted in. The 3 gold bolts, those are all stripped. So I put 1/4-inch bolts in there to, I don't know, just to hold it in place. And I still need to be tightened down, but I need help doing it because it's a bolt and a nut and a washer on the backside. So I got these all on now. They look really nice. I cleaned them up. I probably put some condition on that. That actually split, unfortunately. It's pretty rough, but those are replaceable. You can get those. So I think next thing I'm gonna do is put the seat back in. So we need to bleed the brakes, and my wife won't be able to touch the pedal if there isn't a seat in here. So that'll be the next thing I do, is get the seat in here. But we're definitely making progress. I guess we got like a month and 16 days left. So we'll see how it goes. Well, I got to take a different gas cap too, because this thing likes to build up pressure. I don't know if the vented cap just ain't working or what, but we got to do that too at some point. But that's where we're at. So I've had my wife out here helping me bleed, and it did not make the rear wheels work at all. And one of the things I was having an issue with is when I had the proportioning valve sensor plugged in, the light on the dash would always light. And now it's not. And when I was pumping it up, oh yeah, and I put the rear to the front and the front to the rear just to see if that makes a difference. And I don't know if it fixed it, but it's definitely different. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have my wife come out. We're gonna re-bleed again and see if it makes a difference. But after I switched it and I was pressing the pedal, something popped. Like I felt something like give. And then that's when I checked the light, and it was out. So I didn't have it hooked up before that when I was playing around with it. So I don't know if that fixed it, and we just need to bleed it now. And the proportioning valve is working the way it should be. That is an old one, so I don't know how good it is, but it's definitely not lighting the light anymore. So that's a good thing. So that means it should be centered where it's supposed to be at. So yeah, I might get my wife out here and try re-bleeding again and see if it makes a difference on those rears. Because the fronts were stopping on the other way, because I had this to the rear because the 1/4 inch line was on the rear, and then I had the 3/16 on the front. But I don't know if it matters on this master cylinder. I can't find any information on it, whether the front's the rear and the rear is the front. I don't know. So that's what I'm working on right now. But if I really need to stop it, the fronts will stop it, because they lock up pretty quick. So pretty good on that. I just gotta get the rears to work a little bit better. And I've adjusted them out to, I don't want to go any further to where they might be dragging any more than with the RDR. So they're good where they're at as far as the adjustment goes. So that part's good. I just got to figure out pressure. So hopefully now that thing isn't lighting up, maybe we can get it bled better to the back. All right, so I switched them back because it seemed like they were working. I just wanted to see if it would work. And as soon as I hit the pedal, look what happened. The brake light came on. So I think it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be the rear is the front and the front's are the rear on a master cylinder. So I'm going to research it some more, probably switch it back, see if I can get that to clear again, see if I can get a pedal. I just can't get the rears to work. Okay, so I did some research. I found that apparently those master cylinders are the rear brakes go to the front port and the front brakes go to the rear port. So now let's find out if that brake switch, if the proportioning valve goes back, if it pops again. Oh, there it went. Son of a gun. Okay, so we got the prop valve working now. So now we just gotta get the brakes working. They don't seem to be. Except for when my wife's out here, she presses on the brakes, I can't turn the tire, but if I have it in gear and I'm moving it, it doesn't go. The front brakes they're stopping, they're working fine. So it's just the rears that just don't seem to want to work. But maybe now we get the proportioning valve where it's supposed to be, it'll work. So that must have been the problem, at least part of it. I also don't know whether or not that master cylinder is going to work in the end. So, you know, I just want to try it out because it's got the right bore size I want for manual brakes. But anyways, let's get my wife back out here and bleed. I mean, actually, I'm gonna what's it called? Gravity bleed them from this way first. Now that the proportioning valve is open, I'm gonna gravity bleed it again, just to get any air out that would have been up here from me taking it apart and getting brake fluid all over my hands. All right, so if you do decide to run one of these M39 736 master cylinders, because they work really good for manual brakes. They're aluminum, they're lightweight, and they got a 0.875 bore which works really good for manual brakes. It does work, but just remember the rear port is your front brakes and the front port is your rear brakes. So it's reverse of what everybody would think it would be. I know there's a lot of master cylinders that do that, I just wasn't sure on this one, but I finally found the information on it. And when I hook it up that way, so the front's in the rear, rear's in the front, the proportioning valve resets and it works the way it's supposed to. And I've just been trying to stop it with it running here, but it's slowing it down to the where it's like trying to stop it. But for one, the brakes are all new. So I don't want to, you can't really break them in that way. But I think once they're broke in, they'll be fine. So yeah, God, what a nightmare this has been. I just totally, if I would have just hooked up the way I thought originally, instead of going front to front, back to back, then it probably would have been all right. But it's working. The front brakes are working great. And just the pedal is just feels soft, but it's not. It stops quickly. So we're all good. I don't know how well this is gonna go. We're gonna try going for a ride here. So let's see what happens. It's about far enough, but it ain't working right. Great. His tires are like flat, semi-flat. I gotta check the air pressure. But it did move. Kind of stops. We got a long way to go though. So I wanted to see which wheel is way out of whack. So I figured I'd jack it all up and run it in the air. That don't look too bad. It's got a little lump in it. Well, let's see what's in that one. That one don't look too bad. The one in the middle, definitely not running true, but it's also not inflated either, so I don't know. That could be just the reason why. Yeah, there's a lump right there. You can see it wobbling. But that's always cool to see it running like this up in the air. Well, the brakes stalled it. Definitely not quite right as far as brakes go though, that's for sure. It stops it, but not very well. Gravity, so I've gravity fed the gravity bled the brakes. Had my wife come out and help me pump bleed it as well. It's going to get worse after that. I don't know, but I think it still needs to be driven. I did discover one of the reasons why when I drove it, it didn't feel right. Well, nothing was tightened down. Everything was just kind of like in there loose. I had to tighten the spring bolts down. I just added the sway bar, so the sway bar is on there with this new polyurethane mount. So I got to just torque this bolt down right here. But it's bolted out on the front on my god-awful, horrible sway bar mounts. But hey, they work. They lined right up, which I was really surprised about. Just got to torque those down. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. I might check the torque on the U-bolts on the rear end because I didn't really torque them down. I just kind of tightened them. So I'll probably torque those down. Probably torque these U-bolts down as well. And yeah, hopefully I get a test drive in today. So I went through and checked the bolts for everything. And the U-bolts on this side weren't even tight at all. So that's on me. But always go back and double check, triple check bolts and fasteners when you're doing these projects, especially if you're doing YouTube. You miss a lot of stuff because you're trying to record and get everybody to see what you're doing, and you end up forgetting to go back and finish what you're supposed to do. So make sure you do that. I just went through and torqued everything. All the spring bolts are torqued now. All the U-bolts are torqued. So we should be good on that now. And I got to still tighten down the torque or the sway bar bolts, the inside, the ones that attach to the spring mount. But yeah, that was that took me 20 minutes because the rears are 120 foot-pounds, the fronts are 90 foot-pounds, and they were loose. So yeah. Double check your fittings, double check your torque specs. Make sure that everything's tight before you take anything on the road. You know, put yourself in danger or anybody else in danger. So don't be like me. But I didn't go on the road. I haven't gone on the road yet, so can't really blame me on that one. But anyways, everything's torqued now. Just found my creeper underneath the tire on that side. If that would have caught and got thrown. Holy crap! That would have scared the crap out of me. I just wanted to see if that back tire back there, the inside one, is wobbling. Drain the diff, mainly because, well, I was just going to top it off, but as I was topping it off, it seemed like there was water coming out. Turns out it was just aerated because it was a little bit low, and when you run it, it aerates a little bit. So yeah, that's what it was, but it's okay. It'll get fresh fluid this way. I got the cover for the 14 bolt all cleaned up, ready to go. I did notice that this gets some pitting in it. So eventually I might replace it, but the sealing surfaces look really good. So, you know, I just use RTV. I'm not going to get a gasket because the RTV always works the best in my opinion. I will paint it. I'm just not going to paint it until after it's on, because when the shop I worked at, we had a tradition of painting the cover after you fill it. That way you know it's filled. So you don't end up leaving it empty and let the customer's car drive away. So I'm gonna do that, same thing as I always have, and just gotta clean up the actual diff now, the actual housing, and then I can put that back on and fill her up with all new fluid. Just to show you inside the diff here too. You can see a little bit of wear on the gears, but there is no lip. Let me try to not block the light. There's no lip where you see the mark. There's nothing there. So that's just normal wear. And the drive side looks really good. Coast side, same thing. So I am not worried about this gear set at all. The only thing I do want to do, and I'm going to do it eventually, is I'm going to get a locker for it. So this definitely needs a locker. There you have it. Cover's back installed. I used the Right Stuff RTV, which is that stuff right up there. So it's always been good stuff. I trust it to seal the diff. And if it doesn't seal, well, we'll try something else. But just gotta fill it up. I'm gonna let it sit up for about an hour or so. I think it says like 1 minute on that, but you know, let it sit up for a little bit. Then I'll top it off, fill it up. I'll put 4 quarts in because it is a full floater, and the axles are also lubricated by the fluid. So you wanna make sure you got enough in there. What you doing? Here's my little bitty. So I got 3 quarts in, a little bit less than 3 quarts, and start running out. So I'm gonna let it drain down a little bit because it'll drain back and fill some of the tubes. Or will it? Let's see how it's gonna get up there. But yeah, I may have to tip it up to get it in the tubes. So we might do that instead. Well, UPS just left, and I got some packages from the old Jungle website, as Derek likes to call it. But let's get them opened up and see what we got. All right, so I ordered some leather pack connectors because I wanted some 4-pin ones to do the tail lights. This is only 20 bucks, something like that. It wasn't that much. And then I got some more P-clips style nuts with the bolts, and this is for the inner fenders. It's the same ones I used on this truck. They're pretty cheap looking, but they work, so you know, whatever. And they're 5/16. They're standard size, but they look metric, but they're not. So, but they work, and they're a little too shiny for my purpose, for what I like. But you know, whatever, it works. Like I said, it holds the fenders on that one just fine. So now we can finish wiring up the taillights. Well, make them removable, I guess I should say. Well, this is how I got 4 quarts in it. Jacked it up. As you can see, it's leaning pretty good. Got all 4 in there. Now I'll jack up both ends to get it spread across both axles. But yeah, that works. I got 4 quarts in there, and that's what matters. Now I got to tilt it the other way to let it drain back that direction, so get some in that side too. We got a full 4 quarts in there. Full 4 quarts, so we should be good. Just gotta let it run down a little bit. Well, I've officially got all the rear lighting done now. There's the running lights, and license plate lights are working, side markers are working, tail lights, license plate. You got turn signals. Brake lights. And reverse. everything is working in the back now. I got everything wired up to a 4-pin weather pack connector, and I'll show you that in a second. If you want to know how to do that, let me know, and I'll make a quick video. I've actually done a quick video on it before, or I've done it in a video before. I don't remember where or when, but if you wanted to see a video on how to do weather pack connectors, let me know, and I will make one for you. But that's all the lighting for the rear. I still need some kind of light housing for the front left. But other than that, the front is pretty much good to go. But the rear is completely done. I do want to do some other marker lights up high here, but that's not necessary for what we need for, in a month for our show. But yep, that's everything. We got reverse, running lights, turn signals, brake lights, and reverse. Pretty cool. I just wanted to show you the 4-pin weather connector I put back here. I still got to wrap these wires up in the back. And I went a little long on the brown one because it's a thicker one for the main lights. But there you have it, 4 pins. It's that you disconnect that, you can lift the whole bed off completely separate from the rest of the truck. So works out pretty good. Well, I found a solution to my front marker light dilemma. Check that out. Does that look stock or what? Except for it's amber. I think these are actually clear from the factory. But this is why I like having other vehicles that are kind of parts vehicles laying around, because the ones for the S10, a little modification, work perfect. So now we have front marker light, and it looks legal. So I'm pretty sure the plug will fit in the back. So if not, I'll find one that does. But anyways, look at that. We got a front turn signal now. In case you're wondering what I'm using right there. So I cut these tabs off of it, the mounting tabs that go to the bumper. And then I drilled a hole on one side with a self-tapper. And then the other side has a self-tapper right through the lens. But it fills the hole perfectly. So probably do the same thing for this side, and I'll just hold on to that housing because that's a good housing. You can get the lenses until I can figure out another method of getting the housings. But this is going to work for now. Well, there you have it. Good running light. And turn signal. Doesn't actually look too bad. So I know I showed the wiring or the lighting before. This time it is completely wired and finished now. So all the lights are on now. And they all work. License plate lights, tail lights, side markers, and fronts. They're all wired completely in, and the S10 front lights work pretty dang good. The first thing I found that actually fit. And yeah, I took some modification and basically screwing them up. I can't use them on an S10 now, but hey, at least I'm legal. So I think it's ready for our next test drive here. Maybe we'll actually make it to the road this time. Just gonna do a 2-wheel drive. Does look pretty cool out here in the sun for the first time. I don't know what's going on, but it has no power whatsoever. No power steering really sucks. Well, successful. Did we get on the road? Yes, we did. I don't know where the power's at. Oh my God. The choke is on. Stupid. Oh man. I just looked and I saw the stupid choke is on. No wonder it ain't running for crap. Man. Let's close that. Let's try this again. Oh man. Like, how did it go from running really good to running like crap after carb, everything? All right, let's see if we can make it a little further this time. The temperature got a little warm. It's not in the hot yet, and it's going down, so we'll see. Forgot. We switched gears. We're down to 410s now. So we got it for highway, but we don't have any low end anymore. We can downshift to third though, so that's good. Brakes are kind of working. Oh, there's fourth. So the brakes work, it's just they go all the way to the floor. Can't downshift, I smell oil. Can't downshift to second unless I'm almost stopped. Temperature seems to be maintaining. I just hope I'm getting all this on video. So I'm trying to lose another light back there. It's on the back of the tailgate. Well, that was a little more of a successful drive. So no signs of overheating. Everything's working good. It's not even getting past the pressure of the cap. The thermostat definitely opened. So this thing is definitely a little bit sluggish with 410s. But let's call that a successful test drive. It stopped, it went, did all the things it's supposed to. Not gonna make a 120-mile trip? I don't know yet. That's a whole different story. In the house, kind of relaxing for the night, and I thought of something. I remember when I was back here messing around, tried to spin the wheels, they didn't want to, so I think we might have the brakes adjusted too tight now. So that could be that could be affecting the brakes as well as it not getting going too much. You know, we got that low end, lost a little bit of that low end torque. So I'm gonna jack it up, try to spin the tires, see what happens. You know, it's already in neutral. They only put the transfer case in neutral just to rule that out as well. And then we'll go from there. But I was in for the night, but you know how your mind works. You got to go figure it out before you go to bed. See if that's an issue or not. Yeah. No, it's definitely not too tight. It's not on that side. What about this side? That might be a little too tight. It's a bit of a dreary, foggy day today, but it's supposed to storm this afternoon. It's showing 5 o'clock. But there's actually tornado warnings and tornado watch, whatever it might be. And storms for the day, but I don't see it happening here. And there's nothing in the radar, but who knows? It's Oklahoma. It could change in a minute. So we're going to get this thing, now that we adjusted the brakes out a little bit and took the tension off of it, we're going to test it again. Besides, I like to drive it, you know, see how it's doing. So we're going to do that, get the cars out of here. I think I'm going to put the Firebird over there when we get back and put the truck here so I can work on it here instead of in the corner. Since we got a bunch of buttoning up to do on it, like inner fenders, you know, just a bunch of little things, windows, stuff like that. But Firebird ain't going anywhere for a while until I get some parts and money and good stuff, you know. But this is the main focus for April. And then we'll definitely get back on this, and we got work going on that. So it's all over the place right now, but let's get this thing out and take it for a drive again this morning, see if those adjusting the brakes helped any. The brakes definitely still need work. Hope you didn't tip down too far. Yeah, definitely still a work in progress here. And the gearing is just so low, my God. Even at 410s, it's just like, it won't go. Well, it does go, but we got the fourth gear and probably 55 miles an hour maybe. Pretty cool. She is running really good though, man. I feel like, listen how smooth she's running. Temperature's good. Oil pressure's outstanding as always. I think it's charging. But yeah, doing good. I like it. It's actually the first time it's been on this side of the shop. That means we're making progress, right? All right, so I think the next thing I'm gonna try as far as the brakes go, when I bench bled the master cylinder, the new master cylinder, let me try to get this open with one hand. It's not easy. When I bench bled it, it didn't seem like it was going all the way in. So I think I'm gonna use the pedal because it's got plenty of travel. And I think I'm going to go ahead and try bench bleeding it again, but in the truck, so I can get the full, what's it called? The full travel of the pedal, and see if that helps out. So hopefully that'll help bleed it a little bit more. So I'm going to take everything off again, capper, and then try bench bleeding it with the pedal this time. So it kind of sucks, but my wife is in San Diego right now, so I don't have somebody to help me bleed it once I get everything back together. So hopefully I don't put too much air in the lines doing this. It is kind of cool we discovered that the front is the rear though, and the rear is the front on this. So these are only plastic, so you don't want to tighten them too tight. Gotta make that seal on that flare. So the reason I'm doing this is everything that I've been doing leads up to it should work. The master cylinder should work because my pedal ratio is like 7-to-1. So there's no reason why it shouldn't work with manual brakes, but for whatever reason it's not. And I think the only thing I'm factoring in is it didn't really bench bleed that well. So we're gonna try it this way and see what happens. It was like bitterly chilly this morning. It's kind of weird. Caps off. All right. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. I'm gonna try to set you up as close as possible. I don't think you'll be able to see any bubbles, but see if we can get this to pump and bleed a little bit better. Go slow and all right, well, judging by that, it's bled because it ain't moving at all. I'm not going to force it, so see, it did spit out a little bit of fluid there, huh? So maybe this master cylinder just doesn't work with this big truck. I don't know. I always use 2 wrenches. You may be asking yourself, well, you're not using a 2 wrench, you're using a ratchet. Well, it's got a 2 wrench crow's foot on it because I don't have any metric wrenches. I gave them to my son the last time he was here. And these should be standard, but they're Amazon tube nuts, and they have a 10mm, even though they're a 3/8 24 thread. I'm enjoying driving this thing up and down the road. You know, I can't take it too far yet because I got to put insurance on. It's registered, but yeah, I'm liking it. And here's a funny thing. So you think the 410 gears would help out? Well, I mean, it doesn't really hinder it too much because the first and second gear are really low on the SM465 transmission. But there's a huge gap between second gear and third gear. If you look right here at the gear ratios. And yeah, so when you go from second to third, it's kind of like, and it kind of dies down, but it gets going. And once it hits fourth, that 1-to-1, man, it cruises real nice. So those 410s are really good for, you know, once it hits fourth gear. But yeah, this 2-3 shift is just, it's brutal. Let's put it that way, I guess. But anyways, just wanted to share a little bit of insight on the SM465 gear ratio. But yeah, but it's still fun to drive. I don't care. As usual, I was relaxing this morning and getting ready to come out here, and it dawned on me, I've got a bunch of shocks right up there that may work to put on this truck. So that'll save me some money if I can get them to work. Those are for the Silverado. But yeah, I think I'm gonna pull those out and see what can fit, if they will fit, if I can get some rear ones in here. Hopefully one of them fits the front and we'll be good to go. At least, hopefully. Otherwise, they're like 12 bucks at Rock Auto, but I don't want to have to order them. Could probably get them from CarQuest too. Well, these are the shocks I have. And unfortunately, they are for the rears. So I don't know if we can make any of them work for the front. Yeah, definitely not. Maybe put a lift kit on it. Yeah, the fronts are really short, but we can probably make something work in the rear. One of these two. Because, well, for one, here's the odd thing. This truck doesn't have shock mounts. Apparently, when they did 1 tons, sometimes they didn't put shocks on them if they didn't need to be, if they didn't need them. So this one does not have shock mounts, but I have some. I got some off of a square body at the junkyard, and I believe they are in here somewhere. Not in that one. Right there. So I have shock mounts. I almost put those on the back of the fire there. So if we can get these adapted on there, then we can put the rear shocks on. And I think one of those sets will work, but we'll have to get up underneath here to find out for sure. So we do have some shocks, at least maybe they're for the rears. You have to get some for the front still. Well, don't you just love when your plans go to crap? So as you can see, these are way too long even for the back, because that's like, you know, at least 8 to 10 inches too long. Not to mention, like I said, these came off a square body. On a square body, the mounting point for the rear brake is forward. So if I'm gonna make anything work back here to come off of that mount that came, this is a 14 bolt out of a 78, 79, 1 ton. And I'm gonna have to move that mount forward somewhere. So, which ain't a big deal, because that's actually, I got plenty of room, but yeah, because that's not gonna fit there. That's in the way. That's where it would be at, is up inside there somewhere. But anyways, so much for rear shocks. All right, so rear shocks are kind of out right now. I don't really care that much about those. I mean, it's a little springy back here, but it ain't too bad. I'm actually, eventually, I want to put an air system on it, airbags with an air tank and everything, so I can adjust it for towing, basically. I'm not going to do like bags where I drop it or nothing. It's a 4-wheel drive now, so if anything, I need to raise this up in the rear a little bit to give it more of a 4x4 look. Like I need some either lift springs or lift blocks at this point. Like the springs are weird because they're smaller than all the other ones I found. They're shorter, so I don't know. It's almost like it's a little stubby one time. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of cool. I like it. I know the wheelbase is pretty narrow. Can't remember what it is right now. I mentioned it in a previous video, but yeah. So I think definitely going to do some airbags in the back for towing purposes. Probably nothing up front because, well, it's a, you know, it is a solid axle, so you can do it, but I don't really need airbags in the front. I just need them for the back for towing. So I want to do an air system because I've got something that I've had for many, many, many years that I want to add to this thing to really, you know, make it stand out. I got that air horn up there. So if I have an air system on it, I can use that, you know, and actually have an air horn on this thing too. So it'd be like a big rig type of thing. But anyways, that's where we're at with that. So definitely need front shocks, but I'm not too worried about it right now. Like I said, I can get those at any local store, or I can order them from Rock Auto for like 12 bucks a piece. But anyways, that's where we're at with that. I messed around with power steering today, trying to get the maybe the box fitted from the, I just took it out of the K10 out there, but it doesn't seem to even pumping, so that thing's probably bad. But my buddy out in Missouri, they just pulled an inline 6 out of a square body, and he's gonna send me the bracketry for the power steering. So hopefully we can get that working. Otherwise, I just got it looped right now because it was making a mess, so everything was spewing out of it. So I just looped it around and tried to get fluid down in it to clear it out, but like I said, that pump didn't seem to be pumping anything, so I don't know what was up with that. But anyways, that's where we're at so far with this. I want to add a little bit. When I backed this in, I decided to play around with the 4-wheel drive just to see what it would do. I put it in 4 low. A lot of times I have trouble going up over this lip right here. It's pretty steep. It doesn't look too big here, but it's a good step up. which is why I had these blocks here, because otherwise I couldn't get the Firebird in here. But I decided to put it in 4-wheel drive, put it in 4-wheel low, and backed it in. It just crawled right up in there like it was nothing. It was pretty cool. So 4-wheel drive works. I'm happy about that. So just thought I'd share. Nice little, pretty cool 4-wheel drive works. So I just got done adding differential vents. I still need the vent part. You can buy these little cap looking things that have a vent on it. One for the front here, runs all the way down and up to here. I got another one in the back, because I never realized just how much pressure these things build up. And my buddy, who's he's a diff guru, he's like, yeah, they can build up just as much heat as an engine bay, or as an engine can. So, which makes sense, metal on metal, even in fluid, will get hot. But so I got the vents now. I just gotta get the vent caps, but yeah, I just want to make sure I had those. I had them capped. This is how I discovered how much pressure these things had. I had the rear capped, drove it for a little bit, came back, was up in there. I'm like, oh, I got the cap on there still, because I just kept it on there for keep dirt out of it, and it let off a bunch of air, just like I opened up a valve. So it definitely made me realize that those vents are very important. So make sure you have good vents in your differential. Same thing with the transmission. Transmission vent can cause it to leak out of seals from the pressure buildup. So that's why they have vents as well. But anyways, just want to share that I got the vents done on the truck now. Video on the preparations for the truck gathering in April. It's about a month away, a little more than a month away. We got a lot done on it this time. It's definitely getting closer to being roadworthy. We definitely need front shocks. We need tires. That's the big one. That might be my downfall on this project, is getting the tires, because they're not cheap. And but anyways, if you like this video, leave a like down there. Leave me a comment. Let me know what I can do better. Subscribe while you're at it. Heck, what the heck? It's free. For anybody who's been here this long, I really appreciate you being here. Man, it got cold. It was 88 degrees yesterday. Today it's freaking 38 degrees with a feels like 23. How does that happen? Oklahoma, that's how it happens. But anyways, appreciate y'all being here till the very end. So until next time, I'll see y'all later.